This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Tom, I'm feeling pretty cozy. I'm wearing a sweater.
Yeah.
It's sweater weather.
It's very fall-y today. Yes, last night before I went to bed, I was sniffing the air, as I usually do before bed, and it reminded me of college. It had that fall, that crisp fall feeling.
Yeah, that reminds you of college?
Yeah.
Like the hazing
like
for your frat when you had to go and like sleep on the quad or something. Naked.
No, just being naked reminds me of the hazing.
Right.
Anytime I'm naked in public, that reminds me of the hazing I endured during Greek week.
Greek week. Did you ever pledge a fraternity, Tom? Did you consider it?
No, I never considered it. I went to so my college had a lot, actually didn't have that many frats, I think, compared to most big schools, but it was still a giant. I went to University of Maryland. It's like 30,000 people, or at least it was at the time. So it was still a lot. And there
Has
was
it gotten bigger or smaller, are you implying?
It's gotten smaller, bigger, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Because it's like built up there, a bunch of new buildings. But there was like a fraternity row, which was, I think, like 14 frat houses in like a horseshoe shape.
Right.
And those were the official, I think the school owned those houses, but then rented them, leased them to the frats or whatever.
The relationship between schools and frats never made sense to me.
Yeah.
But I guess every frat isn't like Animal House, right?
No, some are just about, I don't know, killing people, killing freshmen by hazing them to death.
Yeah, but not every frat's like that, right? Some of them just quietly drop, drugs into people's drinks, and they don't make a big scene out of it.
Yeah. Some frats, it's like if somebody accidentally dies in their house, they'll call the police instead of calling, the one guy's dad who's a lawyer first.
Yeah. Frats. I kind of regret not trying to live the frat life.
You went to the school in the city though. Were there frats there?
No, there were a couple, but it was very much for I think
cool guys. So you couldn't. They wouldn't even.
Well,
consider
you. No. I think the line was it was the uncool kids. But it was very much more of a networking thing. It was there were frats that were set up for studious people trying to get ahead.
Yeah, we had those too.
And I don't think, and to this day, I never would have, even if I went to a school that was very frat heavy, I never would have had the confidence to pledge. I think I would have just I didn't want to deal with rejection, particularly from a frat, to be and I didn't get in.
You.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I felt like I would have been lowering myself to apply or whatever to rush. And then when they inevitably were just no, you're not cool enough. You're 18 years old and you have braces, because they had to put braces on me. But then I'd be oh, great. I thought I was too cool for it, and turns out I'm not cool enough. I didn't want to go through that.
Right. You just skipped to the last part where you weren't cool enough.
Yeah, it was fine. Look,
there was one. Yeah.
If being uncool isn't cool, then guess what? I'm not cool.
Yeah, that's what I was saying all along, Tim. That's what I said in the first place. There was one frat that I went to, a couple of parties where I had friends who had friends in this frat, And this was like a pretty cool frat because their house wasn't on like the main drag. It was just this like terrible house. And there was hay all over the floor because like a year before they had like a farm party and they just couldn't get rid of all the hay.
All right.
So that I was like, yeah, I kind of like
go-getters. Well, hay on the floor, you like that?
Yeah, I'd like to live in a house with hay all over the floor.
And what was going on at this farm party?
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what that hay was covering up?
Yeah. Anyway.
But, yeah. Anyway, Tim, I have a revelation for you about last week's episode.
Okay, last week's episode is about the monsters.
The monsters.
The monsters. I
Yeah.
get confused because it's a family of monsters.
Last week, Tim, I almost lost all the files to that. That episode was almost lost to the
How?
universe. The card I was using, I don't know, got corrupted or something.
Sheesh. What did you do?
Panicked a lot, and it took me maybe like 2 hours and like a few different programs, and I was able to get the files off. Thank
'cause
God.
My contract is pay or play, buddy, and I'm not coming back to re-record that episode.
I know. And I was thinking, well, maybe I can just remember everything I said and I can just say it. Oh, I wonder if actually, because I had your side of it, I wonder if like worst case scenario, I could have listened to your side and come up with like passable things that like, I think I would have remembered enough to be like, oh, Tim's shooting this idea down. I must have said something about this.
I mean, every time I listen...
See if anyone noticed.
Yeah, like, once in a while I'll stumble upon, like, oh, here's an episode from 2014. Like, let me see what it sounds like. Yeah. And, I mean, that is almost a decade ago. And still, when you're talking, I'm just like... Here's how I would respond to that. And sure enough, that's like, so like, I think it probably wouldn't have even been difficult for you as long as you got started. Cause like, oh, this is just us going back, right? Like, so I think you wouldn't have even had to like try to reverse engineer it. If you just kind of got to a relaxed state and just like pretended it was live, you would have just naturally said, it's like, both of us only have like one gear. Right? It's not like, oh, I was in an introspective mood that day, or like I was particular. It's like, nope. Any day of the week, anytime you have a conversation with me, it's going to be the same thing, right? And same with you.
And we're going to say the same things. We've got a few go-to jokes. You heard one earlier when Tim kept referring to the monsters as the monsters.
Yeah. So. We know what we know, and yeah, I've known only the same things for at least a decade.
Yeah, neither of us have learned anything new in that time.
No, neither of us has experienced anything where we could formulate a new anecdote.
Nah, not really.
Yeah,
you got somebody groping you at the airport. Not somebody, a TSA agent in front of training another TSA. You'll dine out on that for the next few years.
I mean, that happened 3 weeks ago. I've already used it on the show twice.
And now it's the third time.
Yeah.
So and tune in next week. We'll be talking about it again.
It's
but
comforting.
Yeah. Maybe we should start just recording these episodes asynchronously, and then the other person, they can just listen to it at like double speed, and probably listen to, like, I can listen to your end at double speed and still record mine at single speed. Maybe I'll record mine at double speed too.
This plan seems a lot more complicated than just talking for an hour.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? In hindsight, I guess maybe we should just keep doing it the way we've been doing it.
Yeah. Tom, this isn't a very spooky... Oh, well, first of all, let me close that out by saying thank you for not losing the files.
Yes.
Very heroic.
You're welcome.
You worked a lot. It's a good thing you had COVID. You were supposed to be away. A bunch of us went on a big vacation last week, and you couldn't go.
Yeah, because
you had to stay home and find the files.
Yeah, I wonder if I had gone on there, I probably still would have like brought everything. I would have been able to. I use a program called Disk Drill. Let me give a shout out to Disk Drill.
Disc drool, he says.
for it's saving our hide.
Did you pirate that program? Did
No,
you pay for it?
I own it. Well, I don't own it, but it's I have like a subscription to like an app service.
Oh, ooh,
And that's-
la-di-da.
And that's one of the apps.
You were just like, look, I don't want to brag. I don't want to look. I have a subscription to an app service.
Well, it's just like it's confusing to explain because then it's like, well, what does that mean? But basically, it means
you said that like when you ever find out that like someone you know like not very well, like a coworker or something comes from is like they have to admit that like they come from like a billionaire family or something. It's like it's I'm actually I'm a
my
Kennedy.
family has a chateau there.
Yeah, and they're like kind of reluctantly like and kind of apologetic because they see the way that you live and the holes in your shoes.
Yep. and
they're like, "Oh, you need this job, huh?"
Yeah, and then you start hitting them up for money.
Yeah.
Hey, well, since you got all that, I have this investment opportunity that I've been looking for partners on lately. And then they don't wanna
patches
hear
for
about it.
shoes.
Patches for how your shoes get holes in them, but you don't have enough money to buy new shoes. Well, get
But
this.
really, I'm just hitting them up to buy me some patches so I can patch up my shoes. It's not actually a business venture.
I'm hoping that they just volunteer. Yeah, I'll buy you a new pair of shoes. You don't have to create that whole business. But anyway, yeah, this this subscription works out great for this kind of stuff because like I don't use it all that often, but every once in a while it's like, oh, I need a program that can do this. And it's like something I don't do very often, but I'm also not going to want to spend like $50 to.
And your $5,000 a month subscription gives you a whole host of
$5 a month, Tim.
Okay. Not bad.
Let me see how much this program would have cost other. And you think you hear the words disk drill, and you think, oh, that sounds like the opposite. That sounds like something you would buy to destroy.
Yeah, I think I read that Hillary Clinton used that to destroy all the evidence of her emails.
Yeah. Oh, maybe she accidentally downloaded this beforehand.
Yeah.
You know what, Tim? Now I'm just looking at the website. It just says free download. I'm getting screwed here. I gotta just use this for free.
Yeah.
It says you can download free disk drill today.
Wow.
What the hell? No pricing information? Very little information. Well,
Riveting stuff, Tom.
yeah. Well, whether it's free. Oh, I think that might have been a fake site. That might have been some kind of fake site because I'm on a different site. Holy moly, Tim! It would have cost me $90
Wow.
otherwise, or $500 for Enterprise if I decided we were in Enterprise. Oh, and they sell NFTs too. So actually, never mind.
Fantastic.
But yeah, they saved both our hides. So
We blew it, Tom.
what?
We could have cobbled together some sort of NFT offering while that window was briefly open.
Yeah, the problem is it's like, would we have timed it right to get out at the right time?
We just sell the NFT.
No, but if you sell it when it's not worth anything anymore.
No, we would create the NFT. We wouldn't buy an NFT. We'd be like, hey,
I
you
see.
can own an NFT of like, there'd be some jackass that would have spent like $70 on like, hey, you can own the episode about bagels or whatever. Like we'll send you a digital certificate and be like, yep, you're the complete guide to everything bagels episode from 2013. That's all yours.
I looked into doing it when we made the NFT episode. I was going to make an NFT of that episode.
Yeah,
but it would have cost like $50 to mint it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to spend $50, and I wouldn't feel good about somebody else spending $50 that we don't get. So forget it.
Okay. Well, maybe we should still mint it when it comes back around.
Yeah, when it comes back around, when it becomes popular again, and everybody goes, no, this time they figured out all the hiccups. This time it's the real deal.
Right.
That's when we'll be selling our NFTs, and you should buy them. They're a great investment.
Listeners, take note. As soon as the scam thing happens again, come get scammed
we'll
by
be
us.
there, and then we'll take that. Get this, Tim. Then we'll take that money, invest it in NFTs.
Now, Tom,
you can't lose because they just keep going up.
They do.
It'll be when it's popular again.
Yeah. Once it's popular again. Right now. Or buy it now.
But then,
buy low, sell high. Ooh.
When it looks like they're going to become unpopular, that's when we'll sell them.
Right. Tom, this isn't a very spooky episode.
Well, it
so
is.
far.
It is to people who have lost their life savings buying NFTs.
That's true. Do you think many of them listen to our show? That stinks. If they do listen to our show, that means we could have gotten part of their life savings.
We could have gotten their money. Yeah, and they probably would have felt better about it because they would have been like, well, I got swindled, but at least it was by one of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah.
It's kind of an honor in that way.
Yeah, I would have drawn a picture of an ape to go with it.
That would have been our NFTs. It would have just been drawings you did of apes.
Crude drawings of an ape by Tim.
Yeah.
All right.
Should have gotten in on it.
Tom, it's Halloween month. What are you doing to celebrate? Is it spooky over there? You watching scary movies?
Yeah, we have been watching some scary movies.
Too
we
scary?
watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Okay.
It was
It's
good.
a zombie flick.
It was good.
Wow.
No,
hey,
not
Rex Reed over here.
not a zombie. It's you would like it. It's kind of like a home invasion thing.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't
Like,
think I like home invasion movies anymore. I'm afraid that my
Ever
home is
since your
going to
home
get
got
invaded. Yeah.
No, but like a not like a supernatural type thing.
Right. Oh, good.
Just so like there's a killer type thing.
You ever just watch the first scene of the original Scream?
No.
You should just do that.
When,
It's a really good scene. Drew
I
Barrymore.
remember it.
If you don't want to watch a whole
do
movie,
you like scary movies?
yeah, it's like, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's Drew Barrymore. Hey, America's
And
sweetheart.
you're like, oh, she must be the star of this movie.
Yeah, she's on the poster and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's popcorn in it, Tom.
In the movie?
Well, in the first scene, she's making Jiffy Pop.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
Yeah,
That's probably why that movie became so big. They went to all the movie theaters and they said, "Get this, first scene, character makes popcorn. Guess what? All the audience is going to want right after they see that.
Yeah.
Guess what? You guys sell popcorn.
That's why after that first scene that features the popcorn, there's just 5 minutes of blank space where they're just like, well,
just a
presumably
popcorn intermission.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Tom. Should we get into the topic at hand?
Yeah, let's do it.
The man of the hour.
Hey, the man of if that hour is a minute to midnight.
Yeah. The man who's...
Or maybe just midnight.
Yeah. I mean, an hour. It could be, midnight to 1 a.m.
Yeah, I guess it would be still most of midnight.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just call him the man of the hour, and that hour is midnight.
Great. And then you're thinking Chris Hardwick? Host of TV's At Midnight? He's a bit of a Grim Reaper himself, huh?
No comment.
The man with the bones under the robe.
You're still talking about Chris Hardwick?
No. I mean, I guess we all, at the end of the day, we're all bones under a robe, are we not?
We're all men with bones under our robe.
I'm talking about the Grim Reaper, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up the man with bones under his robe, because sometimes he doesn't have anything under his robe, and that's even scarier.
Yeah, he's like one of those like cartoon guys.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's just darkness in there.
Yeah, which do you think is scarier? A Grim Reaper that's just darkness under the robe, or a Grim Reaper that's a skeleton under the robe?
I think it's scarier when you don't know what's under the robe. Right?
Okay.
I
so
think
it's
the
like
Grim
I can't
Reaper,
see anything, but if I took that off, there might be bones. There might not be anything at all.
Yeah, to the not knowing. It's the uncertainty to me that is off-putting.
You like a Grim Reaper that leaves a little something to the imagination.
Exactly. Sometimes it's what you don't see that's really sexy.
That's the most titillating of all. No. Keep the robe on. I like not knowing. Tim, Grim Reaper, he's a guy. Now, is he a real guy? That I couldn't find out in my research.
I mean, I've been trying to find out the same thing. Like, I find an interview with him. Now, I always got him confused, and I think this might have been because of Bill and Ted's
Stupidity.
Bogus Journey.
Mm-hmm.
I always, for a while, thought he was the devil.
Oh, but he's not the devil in Bill and Ted's.
Yeah, but he's kind of like, he's in hell with them, right?
Well, he knows the devil, of course, but he knows God, too, because he's the Grim Reaper, remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Remember, he meets God, and he tells God that they Melvined him?
Also, when I saw
mad.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, I was 8 years old. I was just kind of like, this must be the devil.
You haven't seen it since then?
I've seen it many times since then, and now I understand that he's not the devil.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's death personified.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes he's interchangeable with just the idea of the character of death.
Right. So,
which has been around for a long time, too.
Yeah. So he's grim.
Yeah.
Because
I thought it was the Grin Reaper.
No, because he smiles and he takes joy.
Yeah, but you can't tell because he's a skeleton.
Yeah, no,
or
it's
he's
grim,
just darkness underneath there. Grim Reaper. That makes a lot more sense.
The things that he's reaping are rather grim. They say
souls he's reaping.
Yeah. So everybody, except me, it hasn't been proven yet that I'll ever die. At some point we'll get visited by the Grim Reaper.
I know you're joking, but there's a part of you that thinks maybe.
There's a part of everybody that thinks maybe, right? Otherwise, like, what are we doing? We'd just be shuffling around depressed all the time. You're not like, I might be the one guy that could beat this.
Yeah, somebody out there has got to be the guy that won't die.
Yeah. If I was that guy, let me tell you, I wouldn't be advertising it. Because then people are going to be like, we'll see. And then, like,
I'll show that
you.
guy.
Yeah.
He's, a little too big for his britches, thinking he can't die.
Yeah, being all alive for eternity. But then, like, still, if it's like, I'll show him, and then, like, they stab me in the heart a bunch, like, I might not die, but that would hurt.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just like, yeah, he's not going to die, but he's just going to be unconscious for the rest of time or whatever. And then I don't get to go to heaven either.
Yeah, that you're not going to heaven. But that happens to Wolverine a lot. Because he can heal, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt when he gets hurt.
Exactly.
So I don't know what the Grim Reaper would do with a guy like that. With a guy like Wolverine, they should make a movie like that. Wolverine versus the Grim Reaper.
I feel like they used to make movies a long time ago where, like, hey, let's have the Grim Reaper show up and see how he deals in this situation, right?
Name one of those movies.
I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 1940s,
Tom. Well, you're thinking of the Seventh Seal, where he's like playing chess with a guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey when he's playing Connect 4 with them.
So the Grim Reaper, he's been around, they think around the 14th century when the plague was, all the rage. Right. That's when he came into being, because obviously there was a lot of death, and apparently people were drawing skeletons all over the place, which you would think, hey, if everybody's dying, why don't you draw something to take your mind off of it? Why draw skeletons all over?
Right.
But eventually somebody drew a skeleton. They were like, what if I give the skeleton like a cool black robe and then also a scythe? Scythe? Scythe.
Yeah. Can I tell you, my it's going to be 1 in a couple weeks. My son,
yes,
the little baby, he loves skeletons. He's all about skeletons.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Tim, you're gonna wind up with a real Chris Angel for a son.
Oh, Tom, don't get me started on Chris Angel. We'll talk about him on Books the Podcast.
You're gonna wind up with a regular mind freak for a son.
There is also this big inflatable. You know how sometimes in around these neighborhoods, Tom, outside of like a brownstone, somebody will just have like a giant 10-foot inflatable out for.
Yeah.
There's a big inflatable Grim Reaper that's all
yikes.
skeleton. It's kind of scary, and it's right like a couple doors down from my son's daycare, so we walk by it every day, and he's delighted by it. But it scares me, and he's like, "I want to stop," and I'm like, "I think we should keep going though." But there's always like a crowd of kids on the way to daycare that have implored their parents to stop, and everybody just sits and looks at the big inflatable 12-foot Grim Reaper for 5 minutes on the way to school.
This is a real sign of the times.
Yeah, you know who runs the daycare, Tom? Chris Angel.
Chris Angel?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he knew anything about daycare or anything. But it's still just a coincidence that right next door they have that blow-up skeleton?
Apparently, yeah.
Well, I think it's probably your son doesn't know that skeletons are inside bodies yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I assume. Maybe
does that make it boring? It's like,
I don't know how he would have figured it out. Yeah, it'd probably make it boring, and then eventually it would turn into like, oh, that makes me think about how death will one day come for us all.
Yeah,
and now
not
it's gone from boring
though.
to scary.
Yeah.
Not my dad, though. As I understand it, he tells me every night he's never going to die.
He might not die.
he's keeping it open.
Yeah,
just
I don't want to look like
an
idiot if I do die. And it's like, well,
yeah,
this whole thing was a lie.
But if one day your son's like 95 years old and you're hanging out with him, he's gonna be like, hey, wait a minute, shouldn't you be dead by now?
Yeah, no, to prepare him for that.
Right. Well, son, there's something that I never told you. I might not die.
Not sure, and I'll never know for sure.
Right. And I waited until I was like 135 years old to break that news because I didn't want to get your hopes up. But at this point it does seem like maybe your old man might not die.
Yeah. And then he would be like, that's you think I might not die? I'd be like, I don't know, I'm not an expert on death. That's what I'll tell him.
I guess you're just gonna have to wait and find out. But
but we can hang out. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You probably got a leg up on things by being my son. You might have that eternal life gene.
Yeah.
The gene of immortality, or maybe not. Maybe you didn't get it. Maybe it's recessive.
I mean, who knows? It might not happen I might not be 135 years old having this conversation with my 95-year-old son. Who knows?
Yeah, anything's possible.
All right, Tom. The Grim Reaper. Death personified. You were given facts, and then I started giving color commentary.
Well, I was
sorry.
just talking about how he came about, from the plague, and he kind of looks like a plague doctor. Those scary looking guys with the big masks.
I don't think I do.
With the big creepy big nose mask. You've seen
That's what those are. The freaking eyes wide shut thing.
Yeah, kind of like that.
The sleep no more masks.
Yeah, kind of, but they're like bigger and all leather. And it was, they would put like flowers and stuff in the nose of that mask. And they thought just like breathing that stuff in would help the doctors avoid getting the plague.
Did it
Which,
work?
like, you know, we know now that's not true, but it was a good guess.
Yeah.
It was a decent enough guess. I mean,
It's
I think
better,
the mask,
it's worth a
the
shot.
mask
Right?
did something probably.
Yeah.
But
Or if you going up to the plague doctors and being like, take that mask off. You ever hear about freedom?
I know I was banging pots and pans for you 6 weeks ago, but now take that goddamn mask off.
Tom, I still bang pots and pans every day, 6 p.m.
Wow. Well, Tim, to me, you're the true hero then.
Yeah, my neighbors hate me.
The Grim Reaper, Tim, he's not only... So the idea is that the Grim Reaper would go around and either like point at you or touch you.
Right.
It seems like mostly the funner idea is that just by like touching you with his bony finger, that causes you to die.
Right.
But he's not just that. He's not just that guy. He is also, I'd never heard this term before, a psychopomp.
Psycho...
Pomp. P-O-M-P.
Ooh.
But it's one word, psychopomp.
Okay. And what does that mean?
And a psychopomp is a guide to the next life.
So he's helpful.
So yeah. And if you think about it, in a lot of the popular depictions you've seen of him, it's like he touches somebody and, you know, they die.
And
but then he's like...
beckons to them or something.
Yeah,
right?
and then he's like, all right, soul, you know, come with me. Come on, I'm going to introduce you to the guys.
This is when he's reaping the soul. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm going to introduce you to the god and devil, and you could figure out which one you'd rather go with. I can't.
Yeah.
I have to be impartial.
He is impartial. He's not a, like, is he employed by, like, is this a situation where like God and the devil are like, all right, we need this guy, we'll split his salary.
Yeah.
Like
neither of us can afford him by ourselves.
Yeah, this is a joint venture. We're usually rivals, but right now, like, we had to come together for this. It's in our best interest to cooperate.
Yeah. Hey, he's the only guy that can do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, according to mythology.net, and it sounds like they would know, some people might think that the Reaper, like an assassin, is despicable because he ends lives without so much as a flinch. But there's an important difference. Assassins kill people without caring about their fate. The Reaper kills people because it is their fate to die. In many ways, his work is beneficial. He ends suffering for people who are old or sick, and he prevents overpopulation.
Preventing overpopulation is a funny thing for like mythology people to be into.
Look, if it weren't for the Grim Reaper, every person who's ever lived would still be on this planet. That'd be too many people.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
If that started happening, right? If the Grim Reaper, death takes a holiday, it becomes real life, right? And the Grim Reaper, people stop dying. Do you think at some point people will be like, we should probably stop having babies?
Well, it depends. Now, would people still be able to get like very, very hurt?
I see. That's what I think. I think maybe.
Like if somebody got like, you know, run over by a steamroller, would they still be alive though?
Yeah, I don't
Even
think
though, like, their
cartoon
brains are all
rules would
smushed?
certainly it would like suddenly come into like it wouldn't be like.
And that's, I'm not saying that they would pop up like they were 2-dimensional and start walking down the street like a shower curtain all of a sudden.
How much better would the world be
if it were a
that
cartoon?
happened when you got run over by a steamroller?
No, but I'm saying like they get run over by a steamroller and it's like, we gotta like take this guy to the hospital now and like put him on morphine, even though he's just kind of like a big clump of like smashed bones and skin.
Right.
But you know, the Grim Reaper took a holiday, so until he comes back from Acapulco, we gotta you know, pump this guy full of drugs because this is unimaginably painful being smashed into a pancake.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is why we need the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. And same thing,
This
people
is why
that
he's
are old.
paid handsomely.
Yeah. But my point there was just that, he's just doing a job. He's indiscriminate, but not in a bad way. It's just like, look, it's your fate to die, and I'm the guy that's, gotta deliver the bad news to you. Hey, don't shoot the messenger.
Right.
Because in this case, under the robes, I'm either bones or just darkness. What's the bullet even gonna do? A few stories describe heroes.
You can break bones. Has anybody ever tried breaking the Grim Reaper's bones?
I think if he touches you with his bony finger to kill you.
What about an aluminum bat? Does that transfer?
Maybe not if you had like a rubber handle or you're wearing dishwashing gloves.
Yeah. Dishwashing gloves. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, because they're all rubber, Tim. They won't conduct.
Rubber.
But a few stories describe heroes who have managed to trick the Grim Reaper or convince him not to take their souls. In some cases, the Reaper has even given people talismans that made them immortal.
I mean, come on. Are we meant to believe that that's happened?
I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like. That's like if he comes for you. I mean, again, that's the famous, that's the seventh. Sorry, I'm coughing. COVID-19 still.
Right.
I don't, but I still have a cough. Anyway, the idea
Do you think
for
you'll
Bill
have that cough for the rest of your life?
You might. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and the Seventh Seal, the idea of like challenging the Grim Reaper to a game, chess or Connect Four or Twister or Battleship. And if you win, you get to keep your soul, you get to live, but then, you might be able to do double or nothing with him. And then if you win that, you get a talisman. He's got some little trinket he gives you.
Right.
And you're immortal from then on. That'd be pretty cool. Unless you lose the talisman, of course. So I feel like that's fair. That adds a little risk to the equation.
You lose that talisman. What a jackass. If you had a talisman that made you immortal and you couldn't use it, would you try to get it sewn inside your body?
Yeah, probably.
Right?
Because otherwise I'd be too afraid to go on roller coasters from then on.
That's true. You had to leave it in the locker.
Yeah.
The thing is, what if somebody offers to sew it inside your body and they're like, we're going to need to put you out for a minute to do it?
Oh, no, forget it. I'll do it myself then.
Yeah. I just don't know where to put it where it wouldn't. I mean, if I'm immortal, who cares, right? Shove it wherever.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably still places you don't want it because it would hurt.
Yeah.
It depends on how big the talisman is,
That might be the, the curse of the genie or whatever. What is the thing?
Yeah. The monkey's paw. Yeah, you get the talisman and it's like the size of a telephone pole. You got to carry that around with you the rest of your life.
I don't think that'd be worth it. Or every time I thought I felt death coming on, I'd just run back to the...
Well, that's the other question, Tim. Are we talking the kind of talisman where it prevents you from dying of old age, but like once you lose it, then all of a sudden you rapidly age to being like 200 years old and you're going to drop dead right away?
Oh. It does depend on if it's one of those types of talisman or not.
Look, I'm just telling you, these are questions you need to ask the Grim Reaper. Is it one of these talisman where I'm going to die of old age if I lose it? And how big is the talisman? Is it big enough? Is it small enough that I can get it sewn inside my body without having to be put under anesthesia first?
Right. Standard questions.
Do they address that on mythology.net? You know what? They didn't get into it. They left it very vague here about these immortality talismans. Tim, can I tell you about another famous psychopomp, a new psychopomp that's roaming the streets?
Is it the Slender Man?
No, you will never guess who this psychopomp is.
All right, then let's not waste time. Let's get right to it.
It's Slender Man. No, I'm kidding. It's Paddington Bear, Tim.
Oh, he took the queen to heaven.
That's a psychopomp. You know, there was a lot of artwork and stuff depicting Paddington Bear being the one that led Queen Elizabeth II into heaven, which implies that Paddington's dead or not dead, but like a supernatural creature. I guess he's a talking bear. That's pretty. Wears clothes and everything.
Tom, did you think he was normal? No, he's twisted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe Paddington Bear is more twisted than I thought.
Yeah, he's more twisted than the Joker himself.
Yeah, look at if Paddington Bear is looking. If he's reaching out to touch you with a finger. You might think, oh, that's nice. He looks nice and cuddly. I'll give him a nice big hug. But look out. That could be the touch of death.
Right.
Have you ever seen these Paddington Bear movies?
No. Have you?
No. And, everybody says they're phenomenal, especially the second one.
Yeah. And the thing is, look, I'm not going to watch the second one without watching the first one, even though.
Of course not. You'll be completely lost.
And then the other thing is, like,
you won't see how he became the new Grim Reaper. That's explained in the first movie.
Do you feel this about Paddington too? Like everybody I know who's seen it says it's fantastic, but it's kind of like,
yeah,
I'm sure I'll think it's fantastic, but like I don't want to sit through it, right? Because it's gonna be like, I get it. Like, hey, if we're talking teddy bears, give me Ted 2, right?
Give me Teddy Ruxpin.
Ooh, yeah.
The original talking bear. Sure, he had to put an audio cassette in his back, but that was only technology available at the time.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I was jealous. I never had a Teddy Ruxpin. I'd have to go to a friend's house, and my friend was over Teddy Ruxpin at the time, so she was just like, I don't want to play with Teddy Ruxpin. So
you're like, come on, how about for Tim? Throw the tape on. I was into Teddy Ruxpin. I had a Teddy Ruxpin. I had Teddy Ruxpin, and then I had like little Teddy Ruxpin figures.
Oh, I mean, if the mouth doesn't move and he doesn't talk, the figure, like the character itself, is kind of lame, right?
I mean, I remember watching the cartoon religiously. I couldn't tell you what happened in the cartoon. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. It's probably no better or worse than any of the other cartoons that were made to sell toys that were available at the time. Yeah.
How many hours of our lives have we spent just like watching things that we have no recollection of whatsoever? I've watched so many episodes in like the last couple of years of Guy's Grocery Games, and I like Guy Fieri. I couldn't name you one dish that a contestant has made on that show. And all it is like, people battling it out to make dishes, to make food.
Yeah. Shrimp scampi, anybody ever make that on there?
Probably, but like they probably had to use like Flamin' Hot Cheetos to make it or something.
It's like one of those type things.
Yeah. Anyway, I just feel like we've lost a lot of hours to the old idiot box, Tom.
Yeah. Well, to finish up what I was going to say about Paddington Bear, which, I mean, I probably could have just finished it up, but I didn't know this, that I guess mourners left in lieu of the ritual of leaving a coin to pay Charon, who's like a Greek mythology god of death.
Right.
Mourners left marmalade sandwiches at the gates of Buckingham Palace.
Right. That bear loves marmalade sandwiches, Tom.
Yeah. I bet like the guards who have to clean all that stuff up was like, oh man, this is great. The queen died. I'm going to have to clean up all those coins, but guess what? I'm going to keep those coins. And they show up to work and it's just a bunch of marmalade sandwiches. He's like, oh, this is more marmalade sandwiches than I could ever eat in a day.
Yeah, you take it home. You have a marmalade feast. You and all your buddies in your big furry hats.
Put your furry hats on. You eat a bunch of marmalade sandwiches you picked up off the street after they've been there all day.
Plus that that old lady that was mean to you all the time is not around anymore.
That old lady who wouldn't let you talk to anyone. Tim,
When
another
she
famous...
died, was the spell broken? Did they all start talking?
I don't know. That's a good question. It might have been over for like a few minutes, but then like King Charles, made a new spell.
Yeah.
So they couldn't talk again. Tim, another famous psychopomp. Actually, no, not psychopomp. A famous depiction. We talked about the Seventh Seal. We talked about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. But another famous depiction of death, the Grim Reaper, in the movie Meet Joe Black.
Yeah. Starring Brad Pitt.
Starring Brad Pitt as a guy who gets hit by a bunch of cars.
Right.
And then the Grim Reaper takes over his body and is like, hey, this is pretty cool. I got Brad Pitt's body. I'm going to go find that girl he was just flirting with in a coffee shop and get her to fall in love with me.
Right. This is a take on, Tom, the aforementioned Death Takes a Holiday.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I never saw Death Takes a Holiday.
I never saw Death Takes a Holiday or Meet Joe Black, but I have access to the internet and I'm reading this.
I don't think Meet Joe Black played with the idea of that people weren't dying while this was happening.
Right.
Which I feel like is usually kind of the trope in these stories where it's like, well, look, now people aren't dying and there are people suffering and all this. And Death's like, I got to get back to work.
Yeah. And
you realize, Death isn't that bad. He's just a guy doing a job. But
he's just he's a blue collar guy. We should support him. He's the salt of the earth.
Meet Joe Black made a lot more money than I expected it to.
And you know why?
Because it had the Phantom Menace trailer attached to it. It was one of those movies. So a lot of people were going to see that. I mean, you were talking about people, how many things we've seen that we have no recollection of. What about the people that bought a ticket to Meet Joe Black because they were so excited to see the Phantom Menace that then after they saw the Phantom Menace were like, I shouldn't have bought 2 movie tickets to see this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think they probably remember the feeling of going and seeing like the first new Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, more than the movie.
In years, and then getting up and
leaving
before
Meet
Joe Black started. Yeah. Did it go?
Yeah, and it was like, whoa, this is what the movie's going to be like?
Yeah.
I'm in.
But I don't think those guys stuck around. I think they like decamped to
that's what it
to the
said,
diner for milkshakes and
their moms
pouring
to pick
over.
them up.
Yeah, because there was no YouTube back then. If a movie trailer came out, sometimes they'd play it on TV. I bet people got real mad at Siskel and Ebert because, like, I bet Siskel and Ebert like showed part of the trailer during their review, but like not the whole trailer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah. And they were like, "Nah, show the whole trailer. I want to hear what you guys think about it." There was, though, I want to say it was maybe right around that time when it started that Apple.com had like QuickTime trailers, and that was a big thing
in 1999.
Yeah, or like maybe a few years later.
Right.
That it was like, oh, you can watch a movie trailer on the computer. It was way before YouTube and everything.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're telling me all I have to do is spend 3 hours downloading this tiny little postage stamp size video and I can enjoy this trailer anytime I want? Dedicate half my hard drive to it?
Yeah, that's the beginning of the end. I don't think there should be trailers online. I think you should have to buy a movie ticket to see a trailer or like wait for the TV commercial or something.
Yeah.
I agree. Did you hear about this conversation that what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell had with Elon Musk where she was just like, "Do you think
She was telling him there shouldn't be movie trailers online anymore.
Honestly, like she went a little bit more. She asked him if he thought he was powerful and rich enough to destroy the internet, and encouraged him to do it. Like, be like, hey, it would be better if there was no internet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that way people can't keep tabs of what me and my buddy are up to.
Yeah. Look, I'm aligned with her on the destroying the internet part. But that's all. That's all. She and I. That's the only common goal we have.
Tim, I was also reading about.
I'm gonna break the internet one day, Tom. Show my butt on it.
Well, I was reading about Meet Joe Black. I didn't know that apparently, at least at one point, it sounds like maybe around this point, like the late 90s, it was common that when they would make like a TV or a movie or a airplane version of a movie,
right,
that the directors would not want to have their name on that. So they would be an Alan Smithy.
Uh-huh.
So if you saw Meet Joe Black on a plane, it was directed by Alan Smithy. But if you saw it in the movie theaters, it was directed by a man named Martin Brest.
Yeah, Martin Brest is like a famous. I know we want to laugh at the name Brest, but like he's a famous. Director.
Change your name, man. Look, Tim. That's probably why this guy hasn't worked a lot lately.
Martin Brest?
Yeah.
I mean, he's alive. I don't know if he's well.
He's alive, but I didn't see a lot of stuff on IMDb just because people probably see him on the call sheet and they go, oh, boy.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that came out 35 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Brest is older than us.
Yeah.
He was born 30 years before you.
He's not getting work because his last name is Brest. Should change it.
Midnight Run, Scent of a Woman, Geely.
You know what else Alan Smithy directed?
Burn, Hollywood Burn, an Alan Smithy movie.
Yes, but the TV version of Heat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Michael Mann did not want his name on it. So imagine watching Heat on TV and being like, man, this Alan Smithy, he's a good director. I'm going to find out some other things he made.
Yeah, and then you watch him. Yeah.
And then, you wind up just seeing a bunch of bad movies. And you're like, oh, I guess Heat was just a fluke. It was weirdly not violent, though, considering all the guns in the movie. That seemed odd to me.
Tom, you can be a king or a sweet... let me start over. Okay. You can be a king or a street sweeper, but everybody dances with the Grim Reaper.
I don't think that's how it went.
Tom, did you think I was quoting Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey?
Yeah.
No, because
you weren't.
That was, you might be a king or a little street sweeper, but sooner or later you
dance with the Reaper.
But the former thing, the first thing I said, were the final words of Robert Alton Harris, a murderer executed in 1992 for murdering 2 teenage boys. And his last words were incorrectly quoting Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. But also, his last meal, 21-piece bucket of KFC, 2 large Domino's pizzas, a bag of jelly beans, 6-pack of Pepsi, and a pack of Camel cigarettes.
Ah.
That didn't kill him. But could you imagine
he was begging for the chair after that meal.
Could you imagine being on death row from 1979 to 1992 and then just like somehow seeing Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and being like, hey, I'm going to use that that line. Those are great last words for me. Then also the full circle of he's executed for murdering 2 teenage boys.
Like Bill and Ted.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with this Robert Alton Harris guy.
You think he saw the movie in jail somehow, or like somebody just like told him about it over the phone?
I think you can see movies, right? I mean, maybe not
I don't
first
know
run.
about
It's not
Death Row.
it's not like the White House where it's like If you're like, you get
They
like
get
early
movies first?
screenings. Yeah.
That'd be fucked up if that were the way it worked.
You'd be
It's like,
committing
well, first-
petty crimes all the time to see the
Well,
next
first the
Avengers
president
movie.
and prisoners get to see new movies. Then it goes to the theaters.
You know when like an old man like goes into a bank and like nominally robs the bank because he's sick and needs health care and wants to go to jail.
Yeah.
You would do that before a new Marvel movie came out. Every 3 months you'd be like,
I'd
this
be
is a hold up.
slipping a
Yeah.
note. I demand $1 or else
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot you.
You take you in and you could be like, Iron Man 6, please.
Well, Tim, we've talked a lot about the Grim Reaper.
We have.
Should we wrap it up? You got more things to say about old Grim?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mostly
Hey,
read
I
about
hope I
this
don't
Robert
meet him.
Alton Harris character. Yeah, I wonder what it'll be like when you meet him.
Yeah.
It's something I
I
might
wonder if
never
they'll-
ever know about.
Yeah, he is a man you might never know about. But maybe I'll meet him and it'll be like, look, it'll be like a reverse Richard Marx situation where it'll be like, I did listen to your episode. Somebody tagged me on Twitter.
Right.
And you know what? I liked it, guys. You backed me up. You said it's not my fault. That's a common misconception. I'm glad you helped get that out there.
Now take this talisman.
It is unfortunately the size of a telephone pole, but as long as it is in your possession, you cannot die. If you like the show, you can find out more at tcgte.com. You can find all our social media links there. You can follow me on social media at Tom Reynolds on Instagram and Twitter.
Follow me at your pal Tim.
Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/complete guide. Halloween month happens on Patreon too. It's not just happening here, of course. And we're reading a bunch of scary short stories. Last week we read Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. This week we read Abraham's Sons by Joe Hill about Abraham Van Helsing's sons.
You
The
just
guy...
ruined the twist. The mid
No,
the
that's not the
mid
twist.
story twist.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's the mid-story twist, but it's like that's why I wanted to read it because I knew it's about Van Helsing. But yeah, the Joker to the Dracula's Batman, Van Helsing.
Right. Yeah. We discussed that and the slap and the Try Guys. And I think probably this week we'll be discussing Chris Angel as well.
we just might. Patreon.com/complete guide. You can find all that and more, all the back episodes too.
If you join the Patreon, don't go in the comments and tell me that the slap was faked.
Tim, you can't address this twice in 1 week.
I'm
You
just-
ended last week's episode saying, "Don't say the slap is fake. That's offensive to me."
It is. Just have
And
some
you
respect.
weren't joking. It was offensive
I know. I've been
to you.
thinking about it all week.
I think because I think, Tim, much like the Try Guy who became a wife guy, I'm afraid you might be becoming a slap guy.
I am absolutely a slap guy.
This is going to turn into your whole personality, just being a guy that really liked the time Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. And then if people like question the slap, you see that as them like questioning you and whether you deserve to
large
live
part
or
of my
not.
identity is wrapped up in the slap. Yeah, exactly. Whether I deserve to, guess what? Whether I deserve to live or not, irrelevant because it's gonna happen forever.
So yeah, patreon.com/complete guide. You can listen to Tim just sinking into the severe mental illness over the slap, over his enthusiasm around the slap.
It's fine. Everybody loves the slap. Oh, everybody loves the slap, Tom.
Yeah, you got anything else to say about
I have a question.
The Grim Reaper, he also sometimes carries around an hourglass. That's how he keeps track of time.
Yeah, symbolizing the we're all on the most people are on the clock.
Most people. And he rides around on a white horse sometimes.
Yeah. Which is
symbolizing
noble.
the white horse named Death.
I thought it was cocaine.
Yeah, well, that's a different
That's
white
why
horse.
he's so skinny.
That's that is why he's bone thin.
At any point in your life, were you afraid of the Grim Reaper?
No, I don't think. I mean, I've at most points of my life, I've been afraid of death, but
No,
I've never.
I mean, constant, right?
I've never specifically been afraid of the Grim Reaper, though. No.
I was just, for a while, when I was young, just never clear on if he was a real guy or not.
Yeah, because then a lot of times it's like only the person who's going to die can see him.
Yeah, and like
And it's
maybe
like that checks out.
Do you have all these like theories that like when you're about to die, like you're perceiving like you might see the Grim Reaper or like other things like you have a little bit of clarity as to like what's really going on?
Yeah, I mean that there are lots of people that think like, kids and then people who are dying, it's like the veil kind of drops a little bit and you get to see what reality actually is.
It's a shame I'll never experience that.
Well, whether you do or not, Tim, I do think you should join this religion I'm starting. It has a lot of these ideas as a part of it.
I've told you a dozen times, Tom. I'm enthusiastically signing on.
All right. First meeting's this Sunday. It's during regular church hours, so I hope that's okay.
That's okay.
I have to do that to make sure people aren't double dipping going to two different churches.
Yeah. Do you, look, I don't want to tell this story again, but does this involve going to the other church, pretending to eat the Eucharist, and then taking it to the woods and peeing on it, the way that man at
Deacon told us?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't involve. It's not that complex. It's
Okay.
It's
Do we get to
normal
pee
stuff
on
out
anything?
In
the
You're
woods?
allowed to. You're allowed. It happens in the woods. My religion, and there are optional things you can pee on that aren't people or other religious symbols. It's just a log. It's we designate one log for everybody to pee on. That way, piss doesn't get all over the place.
Nice. I love a religion with a piss log.
All right. We'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.